I've been talking about these tips, what will help you, deal with the language barriers, the language that one has to learn to live in a country where they don't speak English. And if you've been missing on this, I would ask you to either check them out on my YouTube channel. You can just write Luna Simonson and you will see me on YouTube, and I've posted them there. If they can be a bit different, but it's the same things that I'm talking about here, if you're new. Or you can go through my recent live videos. You can start from where it says tip number 1, number 2, number 3. You will find them right there on my page. You just scroll down there. I think I started last week. So either go to YouTube, Luna Simonson. You'll see me, the picture is there. And don't forget to subscribe. It's just to subscribe. You don't need to be watching. Just subscribe so you don't miss out. If you miss out something here, you can go to YouTube. You always find it. Yeah, so I'm not going to summarize what I've been talking about. That's why I'm referring you to go through what I've been talking about, already. So I hope you do that. But today we just go forward with those tips. So today I'm actually on tip number 4. So, okay, maybe I can talk about just remind you what we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, I was emphasizing on how you should get into language when you arrive in the country, how you should get into language school as soon as possible. That is, if you have all requirements. I talked about something that's very much required. I can hear Lucepo crying somewhere. Yeah, it's like that. Sometimes there will never be a perfect time for making these videos. One just has to, I'm with Lutanda here, but Lucepo is with the dad. So, toddlers. Yeah, anyway, forget about that for now. Yeah, I talked about how you should get into school as soon as possible upon arrival. That is, if you have the requirements that allow you to be enrolled in school. One of the requirements that's very much required is the social security number, which you get into the country in which you're going to live. Get into school as soon as possible. And I talked about reducing on chimpwena, especially us ladies who like to see a lot of things, go shopping, just, doing chimpwena, wasting time, even when you've got those requirements. If you can avoid that, you learn the language, you get a job, and then you can start your chimpwena. It's nice to do chimpwena when you don't have stress over money, stress over, you are stress-free. Me, I do chimpwena now, but because I don't have any stress right now, thank God. So, because I didn't, spend so much time doing chimpwena when I came. I knew if I can be there for chimpwena, I'm not going to manage. Chimpwena, for those of you who are not Zambians, I don't know. I tried to explain it yesterday. It's whereby you are just like moving aimlessly, like you don't have a... For example, you go to town, you go through, you're entering one shop after another. Meanwhile, you're not even ready to buy anything, but you're just there wasting time and roaming about the corridors of some shops. Or maybe you are traveling outside the country just to do chimpwena. You want to see France. You just want to go to France for you still have a lot of burdens on your backpack, which you need to sort out, but you still have time to do chimpwena. And that chimpwena, if you're not careful, you'll get carried away with it, and you're not going to complete the language course in the time that you're supposed to, so that you get into the work culture for those of you who are interested in working, because it's not everyone who is interested in working. But I talked about this yesterday. So let's put that aside. Let's go forward for today. I'm a teacher. I like to explain things. If there are my students here watching me, I think they know what I'm talking about. I like to explain things. It's the nature of... So, tip number Therefore, you have an advantage. This is a practical tip, and it helped me. I would say most languages, if you are coming from a country where they speak English, I'll give myself as an example. Zambia has English as an official language. So when I relocated to Sweden, it gave me a huge advantage of doing fine, doing better than those who did not come from an English-speaking country. For me, I had so much advantage. I'll give a practical example what I mean. We have an alphabet with letters. Some of our friends, some of my classmates I had that time, come from countries where they don't have alphabets. They use symbols. Some languages have got no alphabet. They use symbols. And those symbols, when they're writing, some of them that I met and I had to learn, is this what happens? My former classmates that time, someone is calling, they write from right to left. Can you imagine that? They are using symbols and they are writing from right to left. I found it interesting. They use symbols, they don't have letters. But for me, because Swedish uses letters, Swedish language has got an alphabet. I'm sure it's the same with other languages here in Europe, especially. Europe is what I'm focusing on because Europe is a continent which has a lot of countries where they don't use English as an official language. So for me, coming from a country where we used English, it gave me a huge advantage than those who came from countries where they were using symbols. So if you are coming from such a country where you use English as an official language, you will find that some of these languages are kind of linked or related to one another, and they are mostly related to English in some way or another. You will find that as you are pronouncing some of these words, you will be reminded of some English words, for example. But on that one, especially Swedish language, it's very much linked to English, mostly, at least. I don't know which percentage I can give it. I can say maybe from 40 to 60%. It's like a lot of words are very, very similar to English. So I had an advantage. So if you are also coming from a country where you use English as an official language, you have an advantage. So use that advantage to your own good, It will help you. Because when you're pronouncing these words, you are going to be I used to associate, you just bend a bit and then you say a word in the language. Meanwhile, you are remembering how a word is said in English. So you have an advantage. So use that as an advantage which will make you learn this language as quickly as possible. Don't be like people who do not have English as an official language, who are going to struggle to know that A, B, C, D, of course, they're not pronounced like this. For example, in Swedish, the same alphabet, but we have the same alphabet, but there are some letters at the end of it, which have got those, like for example, E, paitmadots pamwamba, E, padikwat pamwamba, such things. Those are the last letters of the alphabet for Swedish language. But for some language, I don't know other languages. I know Danish language, for example, has such things also, but they are symbols. They are letters, but they are not tuned to so. Pamwamba, you know what I'm talking about. So, but for our friends, they don't even know that the A is A. Me, I know that A is A, but in Swedish we say A. A, B, beer, C, seer. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. So it gave me a very, very, very big advantage. So you can use that too. Yeah. And if I want to link that up with something that also can make sense, for example, that tip, I'm going to link it up with another point to make number 4. Yeah, when you're learning language, you don't have Swedish people born here because they do not learn languages. Their language. So when you're going to start learning languages, if you relocate, you are going to have people from all walks, all kinds of countries. For example, you will have people from Asia, you will have people from England, the United Kingdom as a whole. You will have people from the USA, you will have people from Africa, different countries in Africa. You will have people from all walks of life. Okay? That's what makes it unique. So, because people are coming for different reasons. Some are coming for work. Some have gotten some... people are coming for different reasons. It's not everyone coming here who is coming here because of relationship or marriage. No. People are going to certain countries because of different reasons. So, I'll tell you my experience. I like to talk from experience so that you know that what I'm talking about is something that is founded. So, as you are mixed, all of you, in one class, you can even, sometimes you can be even lucky to find, but it's very rare, especially Zambians. Zambians are not, I don't know, Zambians in these countries, I can't even cheat that I ever saw a Zambian at that school where I was learning language. But sometimes, very rare, you would find that you meet a Zambian. Not you find, but I had people from neighboring countries. I think I had some Kenyan, you know what I mean. And there, you meet people in class who are speaking English. And you already know how to speak English. Some of them, because they want to be friendly to you, they want to speak English to you. Okay? I'll give an example of myself. There I was in class. First day, I sat next to a lady. That lady, as we were introducing ourselves, they were asking which languages we speak, and then this lady got so interested. And she got to know that I was from Zambia and I was speaking English, and she thought we could be friends. Of course, yes, she was my age mate. Nice lady. She came all the way from London, from England. Yeah. She relocated to Sweden because she wanted to, as I said, she just came here. She wanted to change the environment and start a new life here in Sweden. So she's a real English speaker. I mean, she's born in England. She speaks British English. So there she was, seated next to me, and we became friends. Beautiful lady. We became friends. I love her so much, and she loves me so much. So each time when we were in class, we were sitting together. We were fond of each other, even then. But the problem came when each time we had lessons, and all the time we were together, she wanted to use English to me and all that. I used to encourage her, let's not use English. Let's try. Let's make mistakes. But I guess, as I said in the beginning, learning languages, require someone to have interest. For me, I really wanted a friend whom we could make mistakes with without feeling guilty, and encouraging each other that we needed to put effort in the language. Otherwise, we can already speak English and we don't need it. But it was a challenge. Yeah, so she was always speaking English to me and all that. There you are going to meet, if you relocate, for example, you will meet a lot of such. It doesn't matter where that person comes from. The person can come from, let's say, okay, an example, South Africa. and South Africa speaks English, you find that friend, someone wants to be friends with you, and they're speaking English to you, and you're not improving in your Swedish, because the most important thing at that moment should be Swedish, because English you already know. So I used to encourage her. Sometimes there were a lot of opportunities. Our teachers used to tell us that you can actually go to libraries, and every evening there's coffee time with natives. You just go there, and the natives will allow you to make mistakes. We got to know about this when we were in school. So we could go to the library, for example, 17 hours, and we find there's coffee, there are some snacks, and then we're sitting around the table and we are speaking Swedish. You would find this friend of mine is not even trying. That time, that was our first year of being here. You would find me just, there. The purpose of that meeting is, it's not a forcing matter. It's like you go there if you want. So I was so interested, because I think one should even set goals. I mean, it depends with why you want to learn the language. If you don't need it, you don't need it. Maybe you should take it easy. But for some of us, I needed it. I had left my job in Zambia. I had left my life. Of course, I'm a working person. I'm very used. I don't know. I wanted to get into the work culture as soon as possible. So we went there. I was speaking this language, just speaking it. Of course, they understand, they're natives, and they're there to help you. They even help you. You make a wrong sentence, or maybe they're asking you, like, okay, so you come from Zambia. Then they maybe ask a question which will trigger a little bit of discussion, so that they just come in at the end to say, here, we don't say this, we say that. I used to go there, and me and my friend and I used to go there. She was so shy to make those mistakes. I was not shy at all. We spoke, and then after we left that place, she was like, oh, you are not shy. Like, we were just there. I said, yeah, we just have to. That place helped me at least. I'm talking from my own experience. It helped me become better. So those were tips from our teacher to attend those meetings. So in the long run, what did my friend do? She just said, we were getting a lot of homeworks. Like I said before in the previous videos, you should treat these language courses seriously. Then you're going to make it. So in the long run, she just gave up. She said, I'm not managing. She had this English accent. You know how British speak, yeah? She had it, and she was using the same accent to speak Swedish. So, and the grammar, she had so much problems to understand how grammar works in Swedish. And when we had tests, listening comprehensions, she was having problems. So in the end, she just told me, my dear, I'm stopping this course. So what are you going to do? Well, Sweden, these countries have got jobs. Jobs that, yeah, if you are serious, you can find what to do. You can always find, if you are not lazy, you can always find something to do. And the payments for those jobs are maybe what we call minimum wage. Here, you don't pay people peanuts. You pay people what they deserve, because the laws are very clearly, written down. So she told me, you know what I'm going to be doing? I'll just find work in the farms. Here they grow a lot of strawberries and all that stuff. So she thought she was very strong. She was just going to go and do some farm work somewhere where she didn't really need to speak Swedish, because we had different goals. My goal was to continue with my Zambian career, and then to to start something also different from my career, which I had in Zambia, but that required real Swedish. So I said, oh, that's sad to know that you're going to quit. So she quit. So what am I saying? If you meet such kind of friends, you will meet them. They could be from Africa, from Asia, from America, who are speaking English to you. Don't lose focus. Continue encouraging yourself and encourage them. Maybe you might even pass and leave them on the lower level. Just keep going. It's life. You cannot always move together if you have different goals in life. So that's how she left, and that's how she started working in the farms. So that was just a practical example I was giving. So you will meet such friends who just want to use English to you because they find that you are speaking English. That is not going to help you. That will just kill your zeal to learn language. Okay? So that was tip number 4. I would like to finish up because I think I need to start talking about something else. Too much of anything is bad, right? So let me just finish up. Now I go to tip number 5. Tip number 5, what can I talk about? Yeah, I've already talked about how I wasn't afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are a part of learning. Anyone who doesn't make mistakes will not learn. So do not be afraid to make mistakes. Just go there and make mistakes. You're going to learn from those mistakes. So when teachers see your efforts, these teachers are well trained teachers to teach adults who are coming from other countries. They are just there to do that. They are very good. They know where to tackle. They are very good. I must say, excellent teachers. So, they will see the efforts, and first of all, they will ask right there on introduction what one has been doing in their country. For example, they asked me, what have you been doing in your country? What have you studied? How far have you studied? Then they know the level. Then they have that in the background. So if they see how interested you are, they are going to, what can I say? If you are showing the effort and you are really showing the effort and you are passing, they give you this test, you pass, you will not stay in that course. They will make you skip some courses because they think you are more advanced. That's what they did to me. And they do that if they see that you're not fitting in this class where people are learning alphabets. And come on, you are not supposed to learn alphabets. You already know those things, and you are pronouncing them in the Swedish way and in the language in which you are using. For example, German, Danish, Norwegian, they will make you skip. But I'm talking about here in Sweden, what they did practically, they made me skip some courses because it was getting boring for me. So they make you skip because there are a lot of levels of these languages. You have to reach a certain level. So I didn't spend so much time in those language. There was introduction, there was level A, B, C, D. They just made me skip and wrote the exam and passed. And there's another level in the middle which you have to go to before you tackle. It's like a primary and mid. What's this? What is it? Grades. What is it called? Primary, and then there is what? There's basic, right? Before you go to high school. Oh, sorry if I'm making mistakes, but that's what I can remember from Zambia. If they are still using the same way they used to call such. So there is, after you are done with that introduction and some levels where you have to listen to how people speak in Swedish and answer while listening. I'm just giving an example. It's a lot of levels. Then they made me skip from that. Instead of going to this one, which you should have tackled, how can I call it? Maybe grade 7 to 8, something like that. I just went to high school level. But I was like, are you sure I was asking the teachers, are you sure I'm going to make it? It's very tough there. I said, oh, you are going to make it. Don't waste time here. Just go. So there I went, and there I just did not do Swedish. I started doing some social sciences. I did some mathematics. I did I did English for fun. I just wanted to see how do they teach English in Sweden. Okay, the one they call high school English. I did that and I got the highest marks. I did mathematics, and mathematics was being taught in typical Swedish. And all the language, all the subjects, social sciences. What else did I do? What it's called? What physics? It's called chemistry. It's called that I did also, and I did the levels of Swedish to the extent of a high school graduate, you know, like the last level in high school. I did that because those courses were going to be needed if I was going to start further, you know. So I just didn't want to end at maybe grade 10 and I stopped. No, I wanted to go all the way to the last level of the Swedish language. So I did that. They made me skip. I did not think I was going to make it, but because I was thinking it's going to be very tough, but I did it. So, because they made me skip, they made me a bit nervous, but I did it anyway. And it went very well. So they'll make you skip. But if they are seeing that you are so comfortable because you are not doing fine, you're not passing tests, oh my goodness, this can take years. This can take a lot of years. Because you don't proceed if you can't do well in these languages. So that's what happened, practically speaking, from my own experience. Okay? So do not be afraid to make mistakes and just go for it with determination, with a zeal, with a positivity. Everything will go fine. Nothing is impossible. So let's look at something. Something else that can help you, you know, these children, nursery, kindergarten, or yeah, especially to Bafana, to these young ones before they start grade 1, those ones can teach you a lot of language, not only Swedish, a lot of language. So what we were doing, our teacher was taking us out to go and visit these young ones at the nursery schools. We could go the whole class. We could interact with these young ones. We interacted with them. It was fun. And as you know, they speak correct language. So they were speaking, and someone, if you're interested, you'll be, you know, interested. Oh, so this thing is this. Okay, so this is how this girl is pronouncing this. And then if you're interested, it will stick in. Okay? So one could use even just for example, if you can like for example, I used to watch cartoons you know, in the beginning, cartoons, because these cartoons can teach language, you know, in a way that you wouldn't even expect. Cartoon programs, you just put and you listen and you learn some language skills from that. So that helped. The other thing was meeting some adults, you know. One could like just say hi, you know. Here we don't greet neighbors anyhow. But you can still say hi as long as you're not going to disturb. If you meet someone, but it's not common, that neighbor must be very friendly. People are busy here. People don't just greet. You don't even know who your neighbor is, you know, when it's worse. But if you find someone who is a bit friendly and close to you and is an adult, a native, make them friends. But or maybe way older than you. Those people can teach you. Even those they speak native, and then you are going to learn something from them. If you have a neighbor who's friendly, you can start bit by bit, as long as you're not disturbing their peace, because people here don't like it. People are friendly, but they love their space. But Kwatu, where I come from, we are like that. You can even go and knock on the neighbor and get some tomatoes. But here, But as long as you're not disturbing them, you're doing it diplomatically, they can teach you something. Another thing, for you people who go to churches and church, whatever you call them, if you have any religion, go there. You will find natives there. You will be learning things as you go. Let me talk about if you're a Christian and they're mentioning, because it's a serious thing, they don't use any English. So they'll be reading the Bible, for example. They'll be reading the Bible. They mention some books in the Bible in their native language. You will be learning something even from the singing, even from interacting with your church members. You're going to learn something from that. That's how it is. Yeah? So those are the tips that I've given. I hope you can get something from that and use it in case, or you can share with someone you know or your relative who's about to relocate. If you don't use them, share them with someone who can use them. So I think I've talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I think so. So someone has woken up. Let's do this. Thank you for listening. And now we can just chat, and maybe someone has written a question that I need to answer. But I hope this baby will behave, because now I can see he's fully awake now. Yeah, I can interact with you a little bit. I hope he doesn't start crying. So thank you for listening. So let me just